Yeah, done. Okay, fine. So when you talk about EBS, first what we'll do, we'll create the. So now let me just take in simple way. We'll create the organization structure. Then we'll create the segments. Then we'll create the value sets for each segment. Then we'll assign. Okay. Assign value sets to. Sorry here. Value sets to segments. Okay, because just now we planned for detailed discussion for the people who doesn't have enough knowledge to understand. On that base, now I'm just going to talk about these points. Okay, so in to create the chart of accounts in EBS, what we do first, we'll create the organization structure, nothing but the chart of accounts structure name. Then within that we can create the segments, and then we'll create the value set for each segment. The value set will assign to segment. Then what we do is, then we can create the segment values. Okay, we have segment values. Basically in EBS, what we do, we'll assign for segments, we'll be assigning the flex field qualifiers, right? Flex field qualifiers, we know what is the purpose and all. Okay, we'll assign the flex field qualifiers to segment. For segment values, we'll assign the segment qualifiers. Okay, segment qualifiers will be assigning to the segment values. But coming to fusion, first we are going to create the value sets. It's a mandatory, because when you are going to create the segments in EBS, value set is not mandatory. So but process wise anyway, we have to use it. Without value set we cannot use any segment. And first we have to create the value set here, and then we'll create the organization structure. Then we'll create the segments, and then after creating the segments, here it's not like separate activity as assignment. While you are creating the segment only, you can just select respective value set for the particular segment whatever you are creating. Then we'll create the segment values, and we'll create the structure instance. Okay, structure instance, nothing but organization structure instance. Here you may call it as simple or structure instance we are calling, or else that definitely that belongs to particular organization, so we can call it as organization instance, but in the system we can see as a structure instance. So in EBS, this is the practice we follow. But fusion, coming to fusion, this is the sequence we have to follow. In EBS, what we are doing, we are assigning the flex field qualifiers to segments. Now in fusion, the flex field qualifiers naming convention, they change to segment labels. That means in EBS we are assigning flex field qualifiers to segments, but in fusion for segments we have to assign flex field labels. Sorry, segment labels. Segment label. Okay. In EBS, whatever you call as a flex field qualifiers, here flex field qualifiers in fusion we call as segment labels. And in EBS, what we are doing, we are assigning the segment qualifiers to segment values. So here in EBS, whatever we call, in EBS we are calling as segment qualifiers. The same segment qualifiers in fusion we call as value attributes. Okay, value attributes. In EBS, we have a 6 flex field qualifiers and 5 segment qualifiers. In fusion, the segment labels and value attributes, the number also changed. They increased. That anyway we'll see when we are creating in the system. Okay, fine. So these are the points we have to understand. The process wise, what we are going to do in the fusion, first we'll create the value set which will be holding the values. Then we'll give the organization structure, nothing but that you can treat as your chart of accounts name. Then we'll create the segments. The number of segments is same, remains same. In EBS we can create 30, even in Fusion also 30. Okay, no, nowhere nobody using the 30 from the practices. Of course, we know there will be many performance issues. Maximum we have to reduce the number of segments usage for any business, right? And then next point, what we'll do, we'll create the segments, and for segments we are going to assign the segment labels. Okay, we'll assign the segment labels, and then we'll create the segment values for each and every segment with the help of value set. For segment values we are going to assign the value attributes, nothing but segment qualifiers as per EBS. And finally we'll create the organization structure instance. Then we'll discuss what is the use of an organization structure instance, and all we'll discuss. Okay, so when you are doing, we'll discuss, then it will become very easy for you. Finally we have to deploy. Okay, we have to deploy the instance. It's nothing but structure instance. Basically the best practice is these segment values creation you can do after deployment. There is difference. Before deployment also you can create the segment values. After you can create, but if you create, there is some disadvantage. You cannot create properly. That point also I'll explain you. Better you can take that point here instead of taking after segments. Take this as a sequence to work on structure definition. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. First we'll create value set, then organization structure, then segments, assign segment labels, then create organization structure instance against our organization structure, then deploy structure instance. Then you can create the segment values. While you are creating the segment values, you can assign the value attributes. Why we are not going to create the segment values after creating the segments like EBS? The reason is, after segments creation, if you create the segment values for any segment, you cannot find value attributes to assign. You cannot assign the value attributes as per EBS segment qualifiers. If you are not assigning any segment qualifiers to any segment value, there is nothing. System cannot identify whether posting is posting is allowed or not, budgeting is allowed or not, account type specification, nothing can be set for the segment value. That is the reason once you deploy the structure instance, then system will allow you to assign the value attributes to specific segment value. Otherwise, before deployment, if you try to create the segment value, just you can create the segment values, but you cannot set any value attributes for any segment value. Okay, so this is a point we have to understand. First we are going to create the value sets. So just we plan to create just 3 segments. Otherwise every time when you are recording the transaction, we have to fill all the values. So that is the reason just I'm taking very basic segments. Okay, company segment, department and account, 3 segments we are going to create. For each segment we require value set to work as a container for the specific segment related values. Okay, first we'll go and create the company.
Hello.
Yeah.
Uh, Sir, just one quick question here.
Yeah,
Like
please.
in e-business suite, what we used to have was there were mandatory uh,
Qualify.
values actually. For example, the balancing segment and the
Same.
national account segment used to be mandatory.
Yeah.
So we have same.
Same. See,
All right, sir. Yeah.
yeah. If any difference, definitely I'll be just highlighting that. But still, you can ask me, no issues. That there is no difference. That is the reason I'm not
All right, sir.
doing that. Yeah. Fine. So
All
fine.
right, sir. Well, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Lakshman,
Yeah. Please.
the example for bit qualifiers and the segment qualifiers, please.
Uh, because okay, can you give me 1 second, please? 1 second, please.
Yes.
1 second, please. Hello. Oh, sure. I'm very sorry because there is some issue and all. I just left. Fine. Okay. See, somebody is asking some question. Please, could you please repeat that question?
Yes, some examples for this flexible qualifiers and segment qualifiers.
I just don't mind. Let me ask you one question. Do you have any idea on EBS?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
I've forgotten. Just is it?
okay.
Are you talking
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
balancing
In that
schemes
case,
or?
no, no. Yeah, exactly. So
Okay.
in EBS, because just why I'm asking that question, just to understand what we have to just discuss with you. That is the reason I'm asking. Don't mind for my questions.
Yeah, sure, no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. See, segment qualifiers. We know in EBS we have segment qualifiers called as flex field qualifiers called as balancing segment flex field qualifier, cost center segment flex field qualifier, natural account, intercompany, secondary tracking, and management flex field qualifier. I'm talking
Okay,
about
okay,
that. As when we talk about segment qualifiers, we have allow budgeting, allow posting, account type, third party control account, and reconcile. These I am
okay,
talking about.
okay.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now just we'll see how to create it. Okay, first we'll create the value sets.
Hi, Lakshman.
Yeah,
Lakshman, in EBS we have created in through flexifield in the qualifier. The first is the accounting flexifield in same fusion.
yeah, same we have. Even like we will be
Yeah.
creating the chart of accounts in EBS also by using accounting key flex field only.
Okay. The in fusion key flexible and DFF also both are.
Yeah, both are there. Both are there.
Okay.
Accounting KFF key flex field. Okay, by using accounting KFF means key flex field KFF. Same like however where we will be creating an EBS by using the same feature called as accounting KFF key flex field only will be creating the chart of accounts. Fine, no difference. If anything is there, definitely I'll be just touching that point. Fine. First, we'll go and create the value sets. We'll create three value sets. So here, just will log in. So username is Kalyan. Any task, any activity, anything you want to create, what we have to do? Just click on user. It will open the panel. Select setup and maintenance. Then this will open the functional setup manager environment. Here first we have to go to project. Go to implementation project. Try to create everything from the project environment only. Okay, you can create outside of the project environment also, but certain features won't work. What kind of features also, that we'll discuss later. Okay, go to implementation project, just select your implementation project, just open this. Now here you can search for the activities. Okay, so here what we are going to create, value sets. Just you can search with the value set, then it will display the proper task name. Better you can search with the chart of accounts value sets. You can see the exact task, just I'm searching. So this is actual task name. Okay, manage chart of account. Okay, manage chart of account value sets. The task name is manage chart of accounts value sets. Okay, if you want to see the detailed navigation, we know that. Just click on this, it will be showing from how to navigate here in the manual process. Financials, and you have to go to define common application configuration for financials, define enterprise structure for financials, then say define financial reporting structure. Under that we have define chart of accounts. Once you expand that, you can see manage chart of account values. Okay, we'll go and create it. Just click on go to task. Just click on go to task. Okay, here we can create the value sets. Just click on create. Just click on create. So here we can create the value set. So value set code, I'll say code as we are creating for TCS, so I'll give the name as TCS. Since this is a code, I'll give as a TCS company COM. Here I can write TCS company value set, and this value sets and all we are going to use for the segment, which segments. These all segments where we are going to create within the chart of accounts. The chart of account is belongs to accounting. The chart of account will be created within the accounting key flex field. The accounting key flex field is part of general ledger application. That means these value sets also should belongs to application called as general ledger. So we have to select the module or application, both are same. Select application module name as a general ledger. Means these companies information where you are going to maintain the information, in which application you are going to store. So done. Then here we know that what are the meaning, what is the difference between these value sets and all. The generally used, you can go and use select the independent validation type. Select as independent validation type. Okay, and value data type you can select as a character. Then select value subtype. I'll be selecting subtype as a test. Now system is asking maximum length. Okay, system is asking maximum length. Even in EBS also, when you are going to create the value sets, we'll be setting the length. So in the same way here also you can set the length for the values which you are going to create. Say I'll set the length as a 4. That means by using this value set, company value set, we can create the values up to with a maximum size of 4 digits. What is that? 9999. Okay, so that you can just specify. If you give 4, it will allow up to 9999.
Sir, one quick question here.
Yeah.
Sorry. Right, Gaurav here.
Yeah.
When we are selecting the value subtype as text, will it allow alphanumeric also, or will
Yes,
it only
yes.
be a text kind of?
No, if you select text, it will allow both.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Right. So I just actually wanted to. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Fine. Here we know in EBS we have like 0 fill numbers and all. Even if you select here in the Fusion, it won't work. But they're given as a functionality, it won't work here. So you have to fill everything. Okay. So done. So that's how just we have to create the value set. We created one value set for company to maintain all company values. Then say save and close. Same way we have to create 2 more value sets for other segments, whatever we have. Create value set for department. Let's say TCS DEP. So already who has experience or knowledge, I hope they all can understand this point. But who are new to this somewhat configuration and all, definitely they'll be finding it as a challenge. Just please make a note where you require understanding, that I'll be covering. Apart from that, which areas I'm planning to cover in this weekend sessions, I'll take care of anyway. Okay, description you can write as a TCS department. Okay, select module as general ledger module, general ledger application. Same process. Select as a validation type as independent.
Hi LAXMAN, one question please.
Yeah.
LAXMAN, is there no security type in this value set?
Sorry?
There is no security type in the Fusion create value set.
Yeah, we have. See here, you can see the checkbox called as security enabled. Okay.
It means it's hierarchical security.
Yeah, that.
Non-hierarchical security.
Yeah, that only we have. Once you enable that, system will open this field. Here you have to click on edit security type. There will be finding all.
Okay.
Yeah, that will discuss when you are working on general ledger. We'll have a session on SR, security rules.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Fine, select test. Then you can give the maximum size. Here also I'm going to give 4 only. So up to 9,999 departments you can create. System will allow, since you are selecting 4. If you select 1, only up to maximum value 9. Okay, save and close. Just click on create again to create one more value set for account segment. We plan for 3 segments only, so 3 value sets are enough. TCS account, here TCS account, and module. Select general ledger. Module or application are options. Okay, all are same. Module or application, or as per Fusion, application will be called as option. All are same. All are one. So select here independent. Value data type is, go with the character, and select value subtype, say test. Then here you can give the site. Generally when you talk about accounts and all, we'll be having the big number of accounts and all, but okay, no problem. Here we'll go with the four sites. Please mute yourself. Somebody's please. Okay.
Yeah, Lashman, small question here from Shiva.
Yeah, sure, please.
Do you really need to subtype as a text for GL account also?
Exactly, you have to give as a test. See here, test in the sense. So what if you give some test, you can, system will allow you to enter number or test, but final ultimately will be entering the number only. For 3 will be giving. See,
mostly it will be account will be numbers only, right? 90%. I mean 100% most of the time.
Every segment values will be going with a number only. Generally, we never use any characters.
Okay, I understand that. Yeah.
Okay, here just for flexibility, sometimes what we do is you may want to write some text also. In that case, it will allow some character also other than numbers. That is the reason for flexibility. We are keeping the option. That's it.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. Or else it's not a condition. If you want to set to number, yes, you can set it. There is no issue. But in future, if there is any need of entering some account, instead of entering the number for account, if you want to write some character wise, in that case, you don't have any option. If you go with the test, it will allow test as well as numbers. For that flexibility, we are taking the test for all the value sets. Okay, fine. Just I given length as 4. I'm sorry, it is switched. So where is our here? 1 second. Sorry, I think it's got refreshed. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, I think this is a different one or what? Fine. Just it's refreshed. Okay, we'll go again. We'll create the third value set. Go to setup and maintenance. Select projects. Just click on this. Here, click on go to task. So already we created. If you want to see existed value sets, you can give the name here. Just I'm giving TCS. Just click on search. You can see the 2 value sets whatever already we created. Company and departments. Now we have to create only account value set. Just click on this create. Value set name is value set code is TCS ACC. Just code, it is code. This would be the name TCS account. The module general ledger. Validation type independent and value data type. Select as a character. Just go with the test. Okay. and enter maximum size as 4 or 5, 6 based on how many accounts you want to maintain. Okay. Save and close. Done. Now if you search with this TCS, you can find 3 value sets. Done. 3 value sets we created. After creating the value sets, what we have to do? We have to create the structure name. Okay, now see here you can see the tab called as manage values, but don't create any segment values for anything. Okay, you have to do this activity after instance deployment only. Okay, say save and close. See here tasks also you can see in the very sequence only. The first task is manage chart of accounts value sets. The next task is manage chart of accounts structures. Yes, the same sequence will follow generally. Okay, just now we are going to create the chart of accounts structure, nothing but organization structure. Okay, organization accounting structure. Just click on go to task against chart of accounts structure. Okay, fine. In EBS we'll create the structure. Okay, in accounting key flex field, here also same. So in which key flex field you want to create the structure, you can search for that key flex field name. Here you can give the name as accounting key flex field. The name was key flex field, but actually display name they are giving as a accounting flex field only. Actual name is accounting key flex field, but just display name they are giving as accounting flex field. Give the name as the search section. You can give key flex field name as accounting flex field, then click on search. Now you can see here the accounting flex field is part of general ledger application. Now within this accounting key flex field we are going to create our organization structure. To create the organization structure, click on manage structures. Click on manage structures. Okay, click on manage structures. So here if you want to see any existing structures, you can click on search, open search. You can see all existing structure. These many chart of accounts already created in this instance. Not only this, there is a big list. The same way for our company we are going to create chart of account structure. Just we are going to give what name we want to use for our chart of accounts. Just click on create. Okay, just click on create. Then give the structure code. Okay, just give the structure code. Structure code I am giving as TCS. Chart of accounts means short name is COA, chart of accounts. Chart of accounts. You can give the detailed full name TCS. Say accounting structure. You can naming convention. You can go with whatever is just convenient for you, and it should be close to the reality what we are doing. So because here within the structure we are going to create the segments. The segments, what segments we are going to have? Company, department, account. Out of 3 segments, very important stuff for us is account. So that is the reason we are calling as accounting structure, or else we may call it as generally that naming convention should be TCS, company, department and accounting structure, but that is not proper naming convention. So just simply we are giving as TCS chart of accounting structure, or else you may write the name as TCS chart of account structure. Anything you can write. And here we have a delimiter. In EBS we have a segment separator. We have a segment separator while we are creating the chart of account structure. So that segment separator only here we are calling as delimiter. How the segment codes need to be separated, that you can select. You can go with this dot. Okay, done. Now we created structure. After creating the structure, as per our plan, we have to create the segments, right? If you want to create the segments, after providing this information, you have to just save it. Don't say save and close, just say save. Once you click on save, here system will enable this create segment, create icon to create the segments. Okay, so after giving the structure code, name and description, you have to select the delimiter. After selecting the delimiter, if you want to create the segments directly, you cannot create. For that, this task you have to, this activity whatever you did, you have to save it. Then this create icon will get enabled. Then you can create the segments within this chart of accounts. Just click on save. Okay, just see, once you click on save, just system is opening the segments. Here we have a title called a segment. That means create, means we can create the segment. Just click on create. We are planning to create 3 segments: company, department and account. Just click on create. So here we can create the segments. So give segment code TCS, just code I am giving as company, TCS company short name. The same it will take for as a API. This will be used, this API generally it will be used for the process of just using this information in other systems and other reporting aspects and all. But here functionality wise it won't make any difference in the process when we are working. Okay. For other external purposes, they kept API name. Automatic segment code only be copied as a API code, API name. Here segment name, actual name is company. Segment name is company. And description, you can take same as a description. Okay. And sequence number. This is going to be first segment. And a prompt. What should be the segment display name? Prompt name is nothing but the segment display name when user is going to record the transactions. And short prompt also. Basically these many not required, just they given, just short prompt is COM company. Display width. Here this point we have to understand. So in EBS also when you create the segments, sorry, value set, when you assign the value set to segment, we know for every segment there will be some segment properties window. In the properties window, by default system will take I think 20 or 30 as a display width. By default it will take, but here manual you have to enter. Display width in the sense, if I am going to create any company name, the company number I can give with a maximum 4 characters. That already we given value set level. By using that value set, if you are going to create the company, any company name, the company name can consist of how many characters that you have to display set here. Say I am giving maximum characters are 30 characters. The company name, whatever you are going to write, that should be within 30 characters, or else whatever the number you want to give, you can give up to those many characters. It will allow you to create the company name. Okay. So column. So column is nothing but segment. How many total we have a 30 segments. Maximum we can create the 30 segments, minimum are 2 segments as like EBS. So here column name is nothing but you can select as a segment 1. Just click on this drop down and select. This is going to be segment 1. Okay, fine. So segment. Now we have to assign the value set here. Okay, this segment is company segment. For company segment already we created value set called as TCS company value set, that we have to assign, so that under the segment we can maintain all the companies with the help of that value set only. Just select value set whatever we created. So just type TCS, you can see all. So this is a company, so select second one, TCS. Okay, company. Just select and say okay. So now we created segment, and for the segment we created company segment and we assigned company value set to company segment. Done. In EBS what we do, we'll assign the flex field qualifiers to segments. In the same way, the flex field qualifiers only we are calling as segment labels. See here, segment labels. Okay, here the advantage in Fusion is, in EBS we have only one balancing segment, but if you see in the Fusion we have three balancing segments we have. You can see here, primary balancing segment, secondary balancing and third balancing. Okay, we have three balancing segments. That is a great advantage in Fusion we can find, but in EBS only one balancing segment we have. Okay, lost your voice. Okay, 1 second. Just 1 second. I hope you can see some change now. Okay, what I'm trying to say here is we created.
Lakshman, this is Srini. I can't hear you. I think there is a connectivity issue.
Yeah, your voice is breaking.
No, just 1 second. Srini, can you hear me now? Any just change you can find?
Yeah, it's fine now.
Okay, great. Fine. Seems to some technical issue. Okay, fine. So what we are trying to discuss is, so we created segment called as company segment. For company segment, we assign company value set. Now for each the segments in EBS, what we do, we assign flex field qualifiers to segment. The same flex field qualifiers in EBS we are calling as segment labels. See here, the naming convention they're given as segment labels. In EBS, how many flex field qualifiers we have? 6 we have. But here, if you notice, we have total 8. Okay, we have total 8 flex field qualifiers. Of course, we are not calling as flex field qualifiers in Fusion. We are calling as segment labels. We have 8, but in EBS only 6. Okay, and in EBS we have only one balancing segment flex field qualifier, but in Fusion we have 3 balancing segment flex field qualifiers. One is primary balancing segment flex field. One is primary balancing segment label. The second one is secondary balancing segment label. The third one is third balancing segment label. We have 3 balancing segments in Fusion environment. Okay, but as we know, like just we can go and assign primary balancing segment to, okay, primary balancing segment label to company segment. So if you want to assign, select it, then just click on select. That will be selected into selected labels. That means we assign this segment label to this segment. That's it. However, we assign balancing segment flex field qualifier to company to balance all the business. Please mute yourself. I don't know, like sometimes. Okay. So in EBS, we are assigning flex field balancing segment flex field qualifier to company to balance the. Yeah.
Sir, one question actually here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to understand the difference between a primary balancing segment to a secondary balancing segment actually.
Okay. Do you have any idea on what is the use of balancing segment flex field qualifier in EBS?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in that case, if you have one balancing segment flex field qualifier, what you can do is only that level you can balance the transaction, and you'll get an opportunity of preparing financial statements only that level. But here you have a flexibility. Say for example, you are going to assign the balancing segment flex field qualifier to company. So only company level you can prepare the financial reports, and every transaction will get balanced with a debit and credit with the same value for same company with a balance segment value. But if you have a requirement, you want to just you want to balance the transaction department level, and you want to balance the transactions location level also. If you have a segment called as location other than company segment, in that case the secondary balancing you may assign to department segment, and third balancing you may assign to location, so that every transaction should get balanced with the company, department, location. Other segments anyway you are not setting balancing, and you will get an opportunity of generating the reports this 3 level any financial report. But if you have only one balancing, every transaction will be controlled at that level only. Other levels you cannot do anything. Even you cannot identify your retained earnings and etc.
Right. So once we are in the transactions,
Yeah.
what we can do is we can have a quick understanding of how it would have been beneficial for an organization to enable a secondary balancing segment. So I think that will be more evident once we are talking transactions.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Just it's all about if you understand primary balancing, that same functionality. Yeah, we'll see that, no problem. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it will give the option to just generate the reports at that level, and it will control the transaction process that specific level also. We'll see, no problem. Just will map. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So
Thank you,
Can
sir.
you assign multiple label to one segment?
yeah, yes, we can do that. But when we talk about even EBS also, you can assign multiple flex fill qualifiers to one segment. Same is possible in Fusion also. The functional device,
Okay.
no difference, but
Yeah. Yeah.
only the point here we have to understand, we got some additional labels, and primarily we got three balancing labels. In EBS we
So
have
you
only
can,
one. Yep.
yeah, so for example, you can set the department as a cost center and that also set up secondary balancing segment
Yes,
as well.
exactly. Now see
All right.
here,
Yep.
I can
Yep.
assign, this is a company, I can assign all labels to company. See, for company segment I
Yep.
assign all the labels. That's all. Fine.
Is
Sir,
the
one quick
sequence,
question here.
is the
Yeah.
sequence would make any difference? Like
Uh,
department first has to
yeah.
be a
Yes.
department and then,
No, we'll discuss that. We are getting lot of noise from somebody. Please check from whom we are getting and all. Somebody is speaking on in the background and all. It's becoming big noise here. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself from where the noise is coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sir, one quick question for here.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I have not ascertained the actual usage of a management segment and the local use segment. I mean, what are these things used for?
See, management segment basically we have in the EBS also. In 11i we don't have. In R12 we have management segment.
So, what is the usage, sir, basically, when you talk about a management segment?
See, these, if you want to understand the functionality which is already existed in the 11i or release 12, just definitely I request you to attend for that the weekend sessions which I am planning, because if you already know this, it's easy for you to understand. Again, see, the people who are other people are attending, definitely they'll know about management segment, since that is there in R12. That was not there in the older version called as 11i. Okay, if you want me
Right.
to talk about management segment, see, this basically we can use for managerial reporting purpose. And other point is, we have a concept called as data access set. In GL we have a concept called as data access set. Do you have idea about data access set in R12? Then I can
Yes,
explain.
yes, sir.
Can you tell me what is the purpose of data access set?
So, sir, let's put it for the weekend session that you plan to have, sir.
Okay, that would
I
be
think
great
we'll
then.
be wasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, fine. Okay. So because there will be some dependency, that is the reason. Otherwise, just straight away we can talk if some new point and all, because these all are coming from there only. When you talk about local use segment, that is some specific for, it's specific to localizations and all. Okay, localizations and all. I never seen where somebody is using that segment. Whatever the projects I have seen. Okay, so since this is a company like EBS, will be assigning the primary balancing segment label. Just after assigning, just say save and close. So company segment is created. For company segment, we assign the value set, and we assign the segment label also. Since it's a company, just we are assigning the primary balance segments. The reason is we want to balance the transaction company level, and we want to do the reporting also, financial reporting also company level. So save and close. Okay. So we'll go and create one more segment. Just click on create. So this I can take as TCS department, and yeah, directly you can write the segment name, department. Sorry, department. The same you can take as a description. This segment is going to be second segment in our chart of accounts. Okay, prompt, how the name should get displayed with the same text. And short name, you may take this full name, no problem, just. And display width, when you are creating the departments, the department can consist of how many characters maximum that you can write here. Let's go with the 30 or 20, whatever. And select, this segment is going to be like maximum we can have 30. Out of 30, this you are going to use which segment. I'm going to take it as a second segment. This is just for numbering. You can give any numbering also here, but generally we'll maintain in sequence only. But this is all about consumption of segments, how many segments we are using. Already one we created, only we can create 29. Now second one we are creating. So to maintain all the department segment values, we require department value set. Already that we created, just click on search. Here you can take search with the TCS. Click on search. Select value set called as TCS department. Assigned. Now for department, we'll assign the cost center label. Okay, for expensing process or fixed assets depreciation tracking purpose, cost center wise, right? Select cost center segment label and select into selected labels. That means cost center segment label we are assigning to department segment. Just say save and close.
So, sir, can we safely say that this is where the P&L is sitting?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
When we are defining it as a cost center, are we talking that these are the segments for only my P&L items, right?
Only for
profit and loss, sir.
Profit and loss. No, this is just when you say cost center, this is primarily you are going to use for the concept of tracking the cost. Cost purpose only. Profit and loss and all you will be generating at the level of company. Company level you can do that.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Fine.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Now we'll go and create the account segment. Just click on accounts.
And Lakshman, where do you?
Sorry?
Lakshman, I have a question.
Yeah.
Where do you define the data type of the segment?
Data type we cannot create. Data type is a seeded one. Okay, we cannot create it.
Alphanumeric or the value should be in numeric or alphanumeric, something like that.
That already be given, right? While you are creating the value set. When you are creating the value set definition itself is given the type.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
The type is given over there. Our own we cannot create. I am trying to say that. Okay, custom we cannot create. Just it's all about we are not creating, we are selecting. While we are creating the value set, we are selecting it. Fine. Now we'll go and create the account segment. Just click on create. So segment code is TCS ACC. Just since it's a code, I am writing as a code. Then just tab out automatically, that will copy as a API name and all. Here our process wise nowhere it will come API and all to use, because this structured, because all the accounting information, the balance will be maintained here. To just outsource this information to other sources and all, they are using the concept called as API name and all. So here you can say account segment name as account, and the same you can take as a description. Just give me 1 second. I am getting some noise from my side also. I want to just speak. 1 second, please. Yeah. So now the sequence is going to be third segment, and you can give the segment prompt to display name as account only. Here short prompt could be ACC, and display width. When you are creating the account names and all, what could be the maximum size, character size that you can specify, say 30, no issues. And column name, this is going to be third segment, select third, and here you can select value set. We have to assign the value set to segment. So we create a TCS account value set that we can assign here. TCS account. So for account, we assign which label? We assign natural account segment label, right? The same will assign. No difference. Okay. With the EBS, when you talk about EBS process only we are following. Okay. So assign label called as natural account segment. Then save and close. So you are not familiar with why we are assigning and all that I'll be covering in the weekend sessions. Definitely why we are assigning balancing, primary balancing to company, why we are assigning cost center label to department and natural account label to account. I'll be explaining the weekend sessions. Who just want to attend, who are interested, who want to know that. Okay. Then say save and close. Done. So what task we completed? We created value sets and we created structure, chart of account structure means our accounting structure. Then we created segments. While we are creating the segments, we assign value set to segment and we assigned segment labels also. Done. Now the next step would be, okay, so we're done with that. So after completing this, we have to create the instance, structure instance. Now we created chart of account structure. Against the structure, we have to create the chart of account structure instance. What happens is in EBS, we'll create the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts we can take into ledger definition. We can select the chart of accounts part of ledger definition and we can complete the primary ledger creation. But in Fusion, what happens is you cannot use chart of accounts directly to just part of primary ledger. Based on chart of accounts, you have to create the structure instance. Ultimately, the structure instance only you are going to use as a part of primary ledger. And one more point, by using one chart of accounts, you can make n number of copies, nothing but instances. Okay, that is the meaning of structure instance. From one chart of account, you can make n number of copies. So by copying the chart of account related segments, you can create the chart of account structure instance. Okay, finally the instance only you can use. While you are going to create the chart of account structure instance, you can select, say for example, I created chart of accounts with the 6 segments. If you have a requirement of only 3 segments for one ledger, in that case you can create the chart of account instance by selecting only 3 segments, or else you may create with the 4 segments or 5 segments or 6 segments. So from chart of accounts you can select how many segments you require. With that selection you can create the new structure called as structure instance. And while we are going to select segments from chart of accounts to chart of account instance, we have a flexibility. We can overwrite the value sets. If you want to use the same value sets, you can take it. Otherwise we have an option to overwrite it. We'll see how to do that. Okay, so here task name is activity. What we are going to do is create chart of account structure instance. We are going to create the instance against the structure, chart of account structure. Just click on this. Okay, just earlier we just selected manage structures and we created chart of accounts and we created segments and we completed. Now to create the instance, click on manage structure instances and just click on create. In EBS directly will be using the chart of accounts, but here we cannot use the chart of accounts directly as a part of primary ledger definition. Only you can use the structure instance only, which will be created against the chart of accounts. I'll give the structure instance name as TCS accounting instance. It will take same as a API name, and here you can give the actual name. The above one is just code. The name I'm giving as TCS accounting instance. Done. Fine. in EBS, when you are creating the chart of accounts level, you can have a checkbox called as allow dynamic inserts. Reason, the chart of accounts only will be using as a part of primary ledger definition. But here, we are not going to use any chart of accounts as a part of primary ledger definition. While we are creating primary ledger, we will be using chart of account structure instance. So that is the reason instance level only we have that checkbox. There we have allow dynamic inserts. Here the same name they are given as dynamic combination creation is allowed. So there we can enable at chart of accounts level in EBS, but in Fusion will be enabling at instance level. Reason, the instance only we are going to use as to create the primary ledger. Just by default that will be enabled. Now we want to create the chart of accounts instance. Okay, we are going to create the instance against which structure by taking the segments from which chart of accounts. The chart of accounts structure we have to select here. Just click on this. So what we created TCS. So TCS accounting structure. This is our chart of accounts name. So within this, how many segments we have? 3 segments we have. So for our instance, how many segments you require, you have to select it. How many segments you require for our instance from this chart of accounts, you have to select. Say we require 3. We require 3. That is the reason we created 3. So the same we will be taking into instance. So what I'll do is, I want to select account first. Just select this account segment. Just click on edit icon. Click on edit icon. Here you have to enable required. Okay, you have to enable required. Then say okay. Just say okay. Now you can see here for this instance, this segment TCS account segment is required. See here you can find as a, this is marked as a required. The same way, which other segments you require into your instance, those you can mark and you can select. Any question?
Sir, one quick question. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
sir. Actually, if you can just repeat the last step, it is saying BI required.
BI is nothing but business intelligence. That means this account segment data you want to take into business intelligence. That is a reporting tool which we have.
Okay, sir.
Okay, if a company is going to use BI reporting and all, you can enable and you can use it. Fine.
Okay, so you have to classify it here so that it can be used in BI.
Yeah, if you want to use in BI process, BI reporting, you want to use this account related information, you can just enable as a BI.
Right.
Okay, BI enabled. Okay.
Okay, in fact, I joined a bit late, so not sure if you have explained already. Can we have a custom segments or only the standard segments allowed?
What do you mean by custom segments?
Like other than the list of segments like a company, account, cost center, and intercompany or whatsoever. Okay. If we have to introduce one new custom code, custom segment to satisfy our business requirement, okay, is that an option available?
Basically, whatever the segments we are creating, our own segments we are creating, those you can treat as a custom segments only. But the flexibility Oracle given up to 30 you can create. 30 segments you can create.
Oh, okay.
So we cannot create beyond the 30. So whatever you create, that is our own. That means Oracle is not providing the names and all. Those are custom names only we are giving. So 30, those are seeded. 30.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Fine. So I selected account segment into this instance from this chart of account structure. Okay. I require the same way these 2 segments also into this instance. Just select it. Just click on that, it will be selected. Then click on edit icon and enable as required. Just say okay. And now we require department segment also into our instance. So select it, then click on edit and then say required. Just click on OK. Now you can see these 3 segments is system showing marking as a required. That means 3 segments we have in the chart of accounts. The 3 segments we are going to take into our instance. Okay, We selected for 3. Now instance will be created with the 3 segments. Just say save and close. Save and close. Done. Yeah, please.
Right. So, yeah, sir. So that means when we are classifying it as required,
yeah,
so it cannot have any null value, right? That's the interpretation.
I'm sorry, we cannot.
We cannot have null values. Null values.
No, like whatever we have existed segments only you can select for it.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Right. I got it, sir.
Yeah.
But you have to select.
You have to select, yes. In chart of accounts, the requirement YC general purpose you may use. Say for example, you are going to do some global implementation and all. So when you are doing the global implementation, just based on like when we are doing the implementation, say 10 countries, in 10 countries, how many segments you require? You may create all the segments in one chart of accounts, but as per country requirement for each country, you can pick the respective segments and you can create your own instance which will be specific to country. Okay, that's how you can use it. Fine. For in few countries the segment you may require similar segments. In that case, so for example I am going to do the implementation for 4 countries. In 4 countries I need segment called as company only. So normal EBS what we do, 4 times for 4 chart of accounts I have to create the segment called as company, and I'll be creating the value sets and all. So in this case, instead of creating the segment called as company 4 times in 4 chart of accounts in EBS, so in Fusion what you can do, you can create only one time. The one time definition called as company segment you can use into 4 instances or 100 instances. So that is a kind of advantage. While you are just copying into your instance, you have a great flexibility. You can change the value set. So here I forgot to show you that you can change the value set. If you click on this, here we have, right? Say for example, I'm going to select, I'm going to mark it as companies required. If I edit on this, already we enabled, but I don't want to use this value set. I need a different value set. I can change it. I can override. So that's how we can use it.
Oh, okay. That's a very good benefit.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
So now you can say save and close.
Yeah. LAXMAN, I have a small question.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, one question.
Yeah.
If we keep on changing the segment and we are talking about that key flex field, is it not going to impact?
I'm sorry. No, one second, because I'm not getting your voice. Could you please repeat the question?
Yes. Yeah. You said that the value set can be changed.
Yeah.
And we are talking about a key flex field accounting structure.
Yes.
Is it not?
Yeah.
So is it the time we freeze this one we can change, or we can change it at any time?
No. See here, value set, whatever you have within the chart of accounts, you just from that, when you are creating the structure, you can override and you can use something. Once you take into instance, you should not change it. Reason, you'll have a values and you'll have a transaction process. So
okay.
In this structure, whatever the value sets or segments you have, it works as a just template. What purpose will use the template? For defaulting purpose, data defaulting. That's how this instance chart of account is going to work in the Fusion. Instance is going to work as a chart of accounts when you compare with the EBS. We should not change anything in the instance. We can add new segments, or you can add new value sets to respective segment in the chart of account environment in Fusion, but you should not do in the chart of account instance level. Instance is the one which you will be using in the business process. Chart of account is not at all the one which will be using the business process. Chart of account we are using to create the instance. In EBS and Fusion, the definition is slightly different. In EBS, chart of account is the one which will be just creating the segments and which will be mapping the value sets and will be maintaining the values. The same final will be using for a transaction process. But here in Fusion, chart of account is going to act as just template, not as a real definition for a business process. Only instance will be using primarily for business process. If you have any query on this, please.
Yeah, LAXMAN. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Naresh. Yeah. As we said, like we are creating our chart of accounts,
yes.
And like we are creating with 6 segments, suppose.
Yeah.
And now we are creating our chart of account instance. We are just taking it 5 segments.
Okay.
So like and I attach that chart of account instance to my ledger, primary ledger. Is there any chance, like in EBS, we don't have an option called we can add any segment after that? So here also it is the same, or I can add any segment, like six segments I have in my chart of account in instance 5. So is there any chance that I can add one more segment there?
I got your point. In EBS, in EBS, you can add a number of segments later point of time, but you should not add. You should not add.
Yes.
The same practice applicable here. Because the chart of account, the instance, once you start using, if you start doing that kind of changes, you'll be having big challenges in terms of the accounting data and all. So we should not do that. That is the reason always we'll have a plan for buffer segments, right? The same practice we can have here. That same. There is no difference in that. The same.
No.
The same recommendation from Oracle. Okay, done. Fine. We created accounting instance, means chart of account instance we created. Done. So in EBS, after creating the chart of account structure, what we do? We'll freeze and we'll compile. We'll freeze and compile. So that as a user, you cannot directly go and do some changes against the chart of account structure in EBS. But Fusion, we don't. Hello. Fine. Okay. In Fusion, in EBS, what we are doing after creating the chart of accounts, we'll freeze it and we'll compile it. Okay. So compile is nothing but validation. System will validate whether chart of account is created properly with the basic minimum segments and minimum qualifiers or not. It will validate. The same way, here also, what we have to do in EBS, we are freezing and we are compiling. But in Fusion, we don't have any option of freezing. Only the option is compilation we can do here, but the compilation only they given as a deployment. So here we have a tab called as deploy. It's nothing but deployment. It is equal to EBS compile. Okay. Once you complete the structure, you have to deploy the structure. That means system will validate and it will finalize. But the here disadvantage is in EBS what we can do, you can select your chart of account structure, specific one, and you can go and freeze and you can compile. So that against your structure, if something wrong, it throws some error message or warning, so that you can identify. But in the Fusion environment, the disadvantage in the process of deployment is if you are clicking on deploy FlexiFill, we are deploying what? We are not deploying the structure or chart of account structure or chart of account instance. Entire accounting FlexiFill we are deploying. Within this, you can have multiple chart of account structures and multiple chart of account structure instances. Everything we are going to give one hit for compilation purpose. So in this case, out of all these structures and instances, if you have some issue with anyone, the deployment status will become error only. You may have 100 chart of account instances, 99 might be good, in good condition, how you created and all. There could be issue with one. Please mute yourself. See, I don't know if you have some question, just you can unmute. Otherwise, please don't unmute. We are getting kind of noise and all. Fine. So now within the accounting flex, we'll say you have 10 instances. So maybe like 9 instances are okay, everything whatever you create proper, but one instance, say you forgot to assign these labels, which are mandatory, balancing and natural account segment labels you forgot. In that case, if you deploy, system will throws the error message. It says the validation is deployment is failed. Reason, there is something wrong with the so and so instance. But here, what system will do is system will be entire deployment status. It will be showing as error or warning. Okay, if you go into log file and all, then you can see that error with which instance and all. Otherwise, by deployment entire this FlexiFill, accounting FlexiFill deployment status will become warning or error if something wrong with at least any one of the instance which is there within this accounting FlexiFill. Okay, now anyway, we'll go and do the deployment. So within this only we created our chart of account and instance. Just click on deploy FlexiFill. It will deploy, it will compile. Within this, if any instance is wrong, any instance definition is wrong or chart of account is wrong, it will throws the and error message as a it will give error message or warning message. But still you have an option to go and see that you got error or warning because of which instance or which structure. Now it is compiling. We know standard rule. Since we know in EBS, I'm not discussing that. Minimum 2 segments should be there. and 2 qualifiers need to be assigned. Those segments are nothing but balancing and natural account, right? System will look for that condition. If any other instance is not created properly or other chart of account is not created properly, also will get end results as a warning or kind of error. But that error or warning is related to our instance or not, you can verify. Completed successful, okay, process, no errors. But 3 warnings are there. Just think those are not related to us because those errors already existed. Somebody created instance, in the middle they left, that is the reason just throwing the error message. If you want to see something log file and all here, you can click on, just expand this, you can see the reasons. Okay, so the warning is related to this, some GL account from the structure called as F Fusion Prime. Somebody created structure called as F Fusion Prime. Within that seems to we have some 3 segments. For the 3 segments there is some issue, that is the reason system is throwing the warning. You can see the warning is belongs to your structure or your instance or your structure or instance related segments or what you can see that. But now we can confirm this is not related to our structure. This is related to structure called as F Fusion Prime. Somebody created, we created as a TCS accounting structure. In the same way somebody created a F Fusion Prime. So that is the issue. This is a warning related to that. Now you can ignore, save, okay. Okay, the key flex field is deployment is done. So here if you scroll the right side, here you can see the status as a deployment status. Okay, deployment status always should be completed. Okay, the deployment status should be always completed. If deployment status is not completed, that means it is pending for validation. If it is pending for validation, you cannot use in the business process, and it won't take proper information from the structure or instance which you are associating with your primary ledger. Means exactly instance. Okay, so if you have any point to raise on this, please. In EBS,
yeah, LAXMAN,
yeah, please.
Yeah, in real-time scenario, all these things initially will be done in test environment and then move to production, or how does it work?
First, to conduct the prototype sessions for the business, we'll do all the setups here, and once you complete the setup, then only you can just show that you can demonstrate the process to the business. If everything is working fine in this environment, if client is happy whatever the business process, how they can handle by using this Fusion solution, then the same setups will do in the other instance. Say you will do the setups in the test instance. If everything is testing, everything you did and everything is working fine, and you just present it to the client is happy, the solution whatever you offer with this your just concerning skills or product available functionality, features availability, so then we'll go on to do the setups in the production environment. Or otherwise we have a flexibility, you can move all the setups from this test environment to production environment also. That is there in the EBS also. That task will be done.
What is the suggested approach?
Suggested approach, see, same setup as it is if you are going to do in the production also, you can move the setups, there is no issue. But generally in the practically we'll see in that companies where we are implementing, directly we'll go and do the setup. Reason, it won't take too much time for completing the setups for respective solution. Okay, that is the reason. General practice would be you will be manually doing. Okay, fine. Because if you are going to move the things from here to there, technically if something wrong, something will be missing, it may disturb everything. Okay, you may not identify immediate base. Later if you identify, by the time the issues will be existed in the environment. Okay, so hardly for finance, if you want to complete the setup, if you sit, hardly you can take the count, you can count the hours to complete the finance configuration. But further other activities, loading the data and all, it may take some time, but just completing the finance, if you give me the time to complete the basic configuration of finance, hardly I may take 1 day time. If require more setups and all, more definitions, I may take 2 days time. For that sake, nobody will take the risk of moving setups from one environment to other environment, like some test to production or development to production, something else. Okay, fine. I mean to say production in the sense some fresh environment which is going to convert as a production. Any other queries?
Hey, LAXMAN, I have a quick question, actually request. I'm not quite clear when you use manager key flex field structure instance. So what's the difference between instance and EBS key flex field segments? I mean, would you mind spending a couple of minutes?
Sorry. Can you please repeat what is the difference between?
Between calling this one key flex field structure instance in Fusion. What is the key difference or the benefit is?
Really, I didn't get your question. Still, I'm really sorry.
I'm asking what is the key difference
between
on calling between EBS. In EBS, you're calling key flex field segments. Here, you're calling key flex field structure instance. What that instance?
No. The point is not correct. See, in EBS, we have a key flex field, accounting key flex field.
Yep.
But name wise, you can see display name Oracle is giving as accounting flex field.
Yep.
In the same way, however, we have in EBS accounting flex field, the same way we have in the Fusion also. Okay. In accounting accounting flex field in EBS. Okay. EBS, by using accounting key flex field or Fusion by using the accounting flex field, what we can do is we can create the chart of accounts, right?
Yeah.
We can create the chart of accounts. In EBS, you can create the chart of account by using the accounting flex field. Even you can do the same in the Fusion by using the accounting flex field future. By using the future called as accounting flex field, here and there we can create the chart of accounts. The first one you can just take as a EBS example. Okay, it's EBS.
Yeah.
Okay, this is related to Fusion. Let me expand this. This is Fusion. Fine. So why we are creating the chart of accounts? To maintain companies, departments and account information, right? So which information you want to maintain, that information sets you can create as the segments. Say in this EBS, I am going to create segments called as, just I am giving short name, company, department and account. The same way you can create in Fusion also.
Yep.
Okay, in Fusion also you can create here. Okay, clear, right? Just here you can create same. In Fusion also, by using the chart of accounts, you can create the segment called as company as per your requirement. That depends. There is a big story to understand why these segments need to be created exactly and all. That depends on practice and internal and external reporting requirements. If you are interested to understand, then the weekend sessions I'll be covering, because this is not session for that. No, I'll come to that point.
I'm good with that. Yep.
Yeah. Just I'm coming to this. Okay. Here and there we can create, right? Now, finally, why we are getting the chart of accounts to use, right? When we are recording the transaction, to capture the description of the transaction, right? We are using the chart of accounts. Why you are using the chart of accounts? The chart of accounts will maintain the company's department account. So when I'm going to record any business transaction, the transaction belongs to which company, which department, which account I want to capture in any environment, right?
Yep.
So here also say I have a account. Now what I'm trying to say is, in EBS, to record the transactions directly, we will be using the chart of accounts. Directly we will be using the chart of accounts.
Yep.
How many segments you have in your chart of accounts in EBS point of view? 4. Sorry, 3 segments: company, department, account. So when we use the chart of accounts, so you will be recording the transaction. Every transaction you have to give these 3 segments. In Fusion, you are not going to directly use the chart of accounts where you have segments. Okay, here what we do, you will create the chart of account instance. Chart of account instance. How many segments you want to use? How many we want to use? 3, right?
Yep.
3 you can select into this. You can select into which segments? company, department, and account. So in EBS, directly by selecting the chart of account, you can use these segments, but in Fusion, directly you cannot use. How many segments you want to use from the chart of account, that selection for purpose, you have to create the chart of account instance. Ultimately, in the business process, you will be using the chart of account instance. Say, for example, in EBS, you created chart of account with the 3 segments, and Fusion also you created chart of account with the 3 segments. But in the EBS, if you have 3 segments in the chart of account, you have to use it. But in the Fusion, you created 3 segments, but finally you taken the decision you want to use only 2 segments. In that case, select only 2 segments into chart of account instance. Say I'm going to take as a primary segments as a company and account. Finally I want to use these 2 only. Now I'll create the chart of account instance with only 2 segments. When I'm going to record the business transactions, I can record the transaction with relating to company and account. Okay.
Got it. So you're just basically using the segment in a different combination. You can create the instances.
That's it. Why we are creating? See, for example, when I'm going to use when I'm going to use 2 segments only into instance for a business process, why I'm creating 3? Because might be I may need two instances. One instance is required 2 segments, other instance is required 3. So in that case, how many segments we have to create? 2 plus 3, 5. Instead of creating 5, say same 2 companies, 2 instances we require company and account, and 1 instance require only department. In that case, from this I will be selecting company and account. I'll create 1 instance. 1 more instance I can create by selecting these 3. Means only we have 3 segments, but used as a 5 segments, since we are taking from chart of accounts for instance definition. Clear this point? Hello? Fine. So that only here we are calling as manage instance and manage structure. Structure is nothing but chart of account structure. Manage instance is nothing but chart of account structure instance. Okay, done. So we're done with the deployment also.
One more question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, but every company has used only one chart of account, no?
Sorry?
Every company has used only one chart of account, no?
Every company?
Yeah.
Every company use one chart of account?
No company use.
No. That depends on practices. Okay. Every ledger will consist of one chart of accounts only. When you talk about company, take example Tata Group. In case of Tata Group, we have a different entities: TCS, Tata Consulting Services, Tata Plastic, Tata Steel, Tata Telecommunications. In that case, company have 2 options. For each business, they can use one chart of accounts, or for all the businesses, they can use one common chart of account. That depends. That depends on their business process and reporting requirements. Please mute. I'm getting a lot of noise here. So a lot of background noise. If anybody is asking the question, after asking the question, you can just mute yourself. Then I'll just start discussing with you. Again, if you have something to ask, then you can unmute and you can ask me. Please. Yeah, please. So that is a point to understand. Your question is like every company will have one chart of account, means that depends. If you take example called Tata Group, within that we have a different entity. Each entity will be using one chart of account, or else you can have one chart of account to use for entire group of all entities. When you have different chart of accounts, you have to use the different primary ledgers, because chart of accounts, when you have a number, based on number of segments, you have to create number of primary ledgers. Reason, in one primary ledger you cannot have more than one chart of accounts. You will understand once we just create that in the system, then you will see that process, you can understand. But if you have any other query, just ask me, or else on the same query also you can try if you have something else.
Yeah, LAXMAN, so we can have a different chart of accounts for primary ledger and secondary ledger, right?
Yes.
That's possible, right? Okay.
That is possible, because again, this purpose is different, right? For every company should have minimum one primary ledger, but that internal requirement purpose, they can have secondary chart of account or reporting, secondary ledger or reporting ledger. That's the difference. Those are not mandatory by default. That depends. The requirement will rise that requirement.
Yeah, for example, US GAAP reporting. Say for example, travel and entertainment expense, it will be captured at a very high level.
Okay.
But for statutory purpose,
Yeah.
it has to be like T&D for employees, T&D for government staff, or T&D for third party, like that. We have further drilled down.
Exactly.
So for that,
Exactly.
we can have a separate chart of
Yeah, you can have separate chart of account. When you have separate chart of accounts, the one primarily will be recording, other one just for reporting purpose for local governance. In that case, you can have a secondary ledger. In that case, we can have. We'll discuss. We have concepts. We have those concepts. We have those concepts as separate features and all. We have a primary ledger, secondary ledger, reporting ledger. What is the purpose? What is the business scenario? We'll just discuss and we'll proceed on that. Okay, fine. Any other queries on this point? Okay, fine, done. If you don't have any queries, just
sorry, Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
Sorry, Lakshman, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
I have a question. So basically, we are creating value sets individually, means account structure, and instead of creating a duplication, we are creating a new instances, right? That's what I understand.
Duplication not. See, in EBS also, what? Okay, value sets not. Value set duplication not. Here you can understand as segment duplication. Value set in EBS, you can create one segment called as company. The same segment, the same value set you can use in the multiple chart of accounts also in EBS. So their value set concept in Fusion, duplication you are avoiding. What duplication? Not value set duplication, segment duplication. Because when you are creating the instance, you can select segment and the same value set if you want to use, you can use however you are using in the EBS. Okay, otherwise you can override. Only what additionally you are not defining in EBS. If you are creating the two chart of accounts, company, if you have two times company, you have to create, but here one time you can create company. That same you can use into multiple instances. Only segments duplication you may avoid here, not value set. Value set functionality will work as EBS. EBS you can create one value set, you can use in the multiple structures, even in the Fusion also same. Only you can avoid the segments definition. That's all. Fine. So that is a point to understand on this point. Fine, done. So now we created value sets, we created chart of accounts, segments, we assign value sets to segments, and we assign segment labels to respective segments. And finally, what we did, against the chart of account structure, we created chart of account instance, which really required in the business process, the real-time process. And after creating the chart of account instance, by selecting the segments from respective chart of accounts, okay, we deployed it. After deploying, we have to create the segment values. Before you create the segment values, what happens we'll discuss anyway when you are creating segment values. Now only the part is per company, how many companies we have, how many departments we have, how many locations, how many accounts we have, all you have to go and define in the system. Let's see how to just create the segment values. I think again it's refreshed. Just go to your project. See, all tasks we have in the sequence only, if you see here. Yeah, Gaurav, just please ask me.
Yeah, Lakshman, so a quick question on the deployment you did, right? Compilation.
Yes.
Yeah, so when you do this compilation, does it mean that it will replicate in all modules like AP, AR, or?
No.
What is it?
Whatever we created, whatever you create, see, simple. Just when you are just working as a manager, if some team member is doing some work, what you do as a manager will validate it. In the same way, we created chart of account structure and instance. That instance and structure, whether properly created or not, it will be validated by system. That's it. That is nothing but deployment. Deployment will validate. But if something wrong, it will report as error or warning. That's all. It won't replicate anything.
Okay, but by default, it will reflect in all modules, or how does it work?
No, nothing. That is a different step. Wherever we require this, we have to do manually that activity.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Fine. Now we are going to create the segment values. So for segment values, the task name is, this is the task, manage chart of account value set values, or else from this task also you'll be able to create it. You can do that from this task, you can do, or else from this task also you can do. Anyway, we'll go with this. Okay, task name is manage chart of account value set values. Means value set will be always refer some segments. What all modules are covered as a part of this training? Okay, Gaurav, I think you missed a demo, and I'll just give me just 1 second. Just let me answer to his question, requesting others. So we are going to cover general ledger, accounts payables, account receivables, cash management, fixed assets as a primary applications, and you'll be learning how to do the configuration for Fusion tax, nothing but EB tax as per EBS, and you'll be understanding I expense configuration, and we have other one, purchasing. I'll be giving the overview on the system configuration. I'm not going to show you the business process, etc. What are the basic setups need to be done as per EBS with respect to those 3 modules, but we'll be primarily focusing on these 5 applications, core financials. Okay, and you'll be learning approvals setup from BPM, business process management, that you can treat as a separate tool or application. And anyway, the setup purpose we are using functional setup manager. We can have this as some, if you need any discussion, we can have some offline discussion. Okay.
LAXMAN.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shiva here. Sorry for interrupting you.
Please.
So whatever you just know.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever you just said just now, I mean, whatever you're going to cover, can you just put in some document on what we are going to cover and share with us? Otherwise, that Excel sheet, whatever you have initially you prepared.
Yeah,
Anything
sure.
is okay. I mean, initially the first demo, you put that in Excel sheet, right?
Yes.
That also it will be fine for us. At least we can have a track where we are.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
Yeah, after the session, anytime, whenever free time.
Yes, I'll just make a note and I'll send it instead of sending the Excel. Reason that I put it everything in the Excel. The issue is
anything is okay for us.
Yeah.
No issues.
Will drop a mail.
Yeah, sure. Anything is fine. Yeah, thank you.
The reason I didn't send to anyone is on the demo I clearly just explained and shown you also that everything, that is the reason. Okay, I'll do that anyway. That will be for your record. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Fine. Now quickly we'll go and create the segment values. Okay, so select the task called as manage chart of account value set. So better you can select against the path financials, the same task is available from Fusion Accounting Hub and procurement and financials. Since we are working on financials, you can select financial relevant task. If you select other also, there is no difference, it will take us to same screen. Just click on this task name is manage chart of account value set values. Just click on go to task icon. Fine. Now we want to create the segment values for which segment. We given value set code. Okay, value set is already assigned to segment. That means if you are going to create the values within the value set, that will be maintained under respect to segment where this value set is assigned. So now I want to maintain all the companies. So here I can say, okay, here what is the name we given value set for TCS? We given as TCS. Three value sets we created. Just I am searching with the TCS. You can see those 3. So these are 3 value sets. For these 3 value sets, I want to maintain the values. First, I'll go and create the company segment values. Select TCS company value set. Then click on manage values so that you can create all your companies. Okay, just click on manage values. Okay, then click on create here to create particular company related to TCS. Of course, already we take an entity name only as a company. Within that, of course, we don't have many companies and all. Anyway, see here, value set creation time, we given maximum size as 4. So it will allow you to enter the value with the 4. I'm just creating the company value as 1,000. And I can write the company name. So TCS. TCS means already it's Tata Consulting Services, but that is there. But I'm taking as TCS. I'm just subdividing into the company activities and all. I'm just splitting what activities they will do. Based on that, I'm going to create consulting. Already consulting is existed within that name, but just for the sake of different companies, I'm taking as TCS Consulting. Else you may take it as a Tata, but structure name we take in TCS. Let's go with the TCS only. So company name is Tata Consulting, TCS Consulting, and here here we have value attributes. In EBS, for every segment value, we'll assign the what will be assigning segment qualifiers. The same segment qualifiers in Fusion we are calling as value attributes. Just you have to note that point. Okay. So in EBS,
one big thought here.
Yeah, please.
So can we have an organization structure written down on the paper and go it accordingly, so it becomes easy for us to match it?
That when we are going to work on that relevant concept I explained, but that is there, that is separate concept. Here just I am going to list out TCS is involving into consulting services and software development and BPO. I am taking 3 type of businesses they are doing. That's all. Structure we have separate concept. Enterprise structure. There I will explain detail level. Okay, I hope this won't stop your understanding. It won't become any showstopper. Simple point here is how many companies they have. I'm listing. What is the hierarchy and all? Definitely we'll be discussing before we get into that kind of environment of system.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, fine. We'll discuss that definitely. Okay. So in EBS, for every segment value, it can be any segment value, company or department, account, anything. We'll assign the segment qualifiers. The same segment qualifiers in Fusion we call as value attributes. Okay. So in EBS, by default, okay, we have total 5 segment qualifiers. Here we have more than 5. But for every segment other than natural account segment flexible qualifier, system will display only 2 segment qualifiers in EBS. But here by default you can see 3. Allow posting, allow budgeting. These are same as EBS, but the additional one is summary. That means for this company you want to create some kind of summary accounting, summary reporting you want to do or not, that you can set with the summary option. If you want to prepare some summary reporting and all for this respect to company related reporting, you can set to summary, or else you can leave kept to no. And you know the purpose of what is the allow posting and allow budgeting. Who are not aware of, I'll be covering in the additional sessions. Okay, the expectation is you know the product and all, and just here we are trying to understand how to do the things in EBS Fusion. Okay, so system by default will take allow posting, allow budgeting, but anyway in further sessions you will understand what purpose we are accepting as yes. If we don't accept, what will happen when we are doing the transaction process, we'll come across that. Okay, say save it. Sorry, just click on save. So we created one company. We'll create one more company under company segment. And other one name I am giving as 2000. Company code I am giving as 2000. I'll say this as a TCS. This naming convention may not be more appropriate. Here I'm taking as already TCS. TCS is one company only, but I'm just taking as a different businesses as a separate company activities. Okay. So TCS, say BPO. BPO is a different line of business. You can take in that way. Then other value attributes you no need to change, accept the same and say save and close. So one more company will create, or else this will be enough. Then the third company is I'm taking 3000. Okay, if I take 300 only, what system will do is see here. Okay, it won't accept. It says you have to enter the 4 values. Anyway, I'm just given that. I'll say TCS software development is another business, and I'll say okay. Okay, so okay, it's not okay, it is taking here. Basically we have a buffer of 4. Okay, buffer of 4. So just basically just it it has to throw some message saying that you have to give minimum 4 values. But since the buffer it is accepting and all. Okay, that's not a big thing and all. But anyway, just we propose for 4 values. Maximum size should be 4. So I entered only 3. Okay, if you create like this, now I created this, all cannot be maintained in the unique format and all here. If you see here, it will be like you may create 1 and 2 and all. That is the reason you have to maintain the unique format. Okay, but just for testing purpose, when I enter this value, just you can create 1000, 2000, 3000. So this is how we can create the segment values for company. The same will create for other segments also. So I'll go and create for department. Later we'll create for account. So select department, then click on manage values, then click on create. Just click on create. The value I'm going to give here as a department also 1000. Anyway, these are different values. So I'll say department name is finance department. So value attributes, you can accept the same and say save. And create one more department. In the same way, you can create n number of departments. So this is HR department. And say save. So one more department is say marketing department. This is how many departments the company is owning, all you can create in the system. So marketing. So the people who are working, they know very well, will be just going with accounts and all this grouping and number, the maximum size and all will discuss with the client based on the practice only will be maintaining. Right? Fine, done. We created segment values for department segment also. Department name is TCS department. Okay, for that we created all the what are the departments are owned by that company called as TCS. Done. Now we'll go and create the segment values for account segment. Select it. Account segment in the sense it's actually value set. Value set is associated with account. That is the reason I'm calling a segment called as account. Okay, I'll go and create. Select the value set, account related value set, nothing but account segment. Here click on manage values. Just click on this. So see here how many value attributes we are getting. For every segment we are getting 3. For this we are getting total 7. The only reason is for account segment, the people knows this reason and all who are just already working and have knowledge. So what reason system is adding? Because for account segment we assign label called as natural account segment label. When we assign that label to account segment, for that account if you are creating for account segment, if you are creating any segment values, automatically this 4 will be added. These last four value attributes you are able to see because you assign natural account label to account segment. That is known point for everyone who knows this EBS and all, the same point. Okay, here quickly I'm going to create some values. I'll say 1000 is cash account. Okay, so cash is what type of account? Basically we have all the accounts are classified into 5 types: assets, liabilities, expense, revenue and ownership. Okay, right, same as EBS, no change here. Select cash account is falls under asset type account. Whether current or fixed, that is a different thing, just it falls under type of asset. Then select it, then save it. Okay, just let me go through the other points, we'll see that. Okay, I'll create one more account called as 2000. Okay, I'll give this account name as retained earnings. I'll discuss about this account when we are using this account, when we are going to use. Anyway, for the people who already know, they don't require, but just will light on that. Okay, this account type should be ownership account. It is nothing but net income account, surplus account. The revenue minus expense we call as net income. That account in EBS, Fusion or EBS, we call as retained earnings account. Basically, nature-wise, the account should come under ownership or shareholders equity classification. The same we are selecting. Okay. Just save it. Okay, this is how you can create a number of accounts.
And what about the start date, end date, those attributes?
It's nothing but this account you want to use for which period, that you can set within that period only you can use. Later system will stop for user display for selection.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a miscellaneous.
Sir, will you have any chance to talk about the third-party control account and reconcile also? Have some.
These third-party control account and reconcile already we have in EBS only. It's not new feature in Fusion. So allow budgeting, allow posting, account type, third-party control account, and reconcile. This we have. Okay, you can make a note that I can explain you. Okay, now in this stage you don't understand. You just ask me, raise me that point when we are working on payables or other applications, because this is a part of EBS solution only. It's not new. But if you want to understand, yes, I'm ready to discuss with you. Okay, but for now, like this expense. Yeah, please.
LAXMAN, there is no option for the child and parent value in the three of the values, sir?
Sorry.
There is no option for the child and parents values in the values.
We can do that. That we have to create as a separate activity. Here you cannot select.
Okay.
In EBS, that is a form. Form level will have a checkbox, right? So that's how you can manage in EBS. But here you cannot do that. That is a different process which you have to do. We'll touch that point also. No issues. We'll see. Okay. So account type. This is account type. Miscellaneous expense means account type should be expense only. So this is how you can create all the accounts. The account, what is the nature and all, you have to specify here. Okay. Let's say save and close. So for 3 segments, we created segment values. Done. Now our chart of account is ready, you can say. Okay, our chart of account is ready. Here also, these 3 segments we have in the chart of account. That chart of account is part of accounting flex field. Here also you can see what is the status of our structure, instance status, or flex field, accounting flex field, deployment status. This always you have to find as a completed. If you find here not completed, again you can go to that structure or instance definition task. From there you have to deploy. Once if the status is completed, then only you can start work. Okay, fine, done.
And what about mass upload of values, like 1,000 accounts are there, means how do you do that?
Here we have some templates. Okay, we have some templates as a part of rapid implementation. Okay, so through that process we can do that. I'll be showing like what other things. Anyway, migration time we'll see, that is a different concept. Data conversion time we'll be seeing what are the master or transaction data which we can load, but this falls under separate activity. I'll be showing we'll park that point for now, since we are working on this. I'll show that. Just we have some spreadsheet. Within the spreadsheet we'll be entering all the values, then you can upload automatically. System will load it into system environment. Okay, that's how that will happen. That provision we have. Okay, done. So we created chart of accounts, right? And already we created accounting calendar, and currency also ready. We don't need to enable. Already we discussed. It's a it's a pre-enabled, and chart of accounts also we created. If you have calendar, currency, and chart of accounts, if you have these 3, system will allow you to record the transactions in general ledger application only. This is the point we have to understand. Okay, what you have to understand. So so we have ready with the calendar to track the date, and currency to give the specification for the amounts, and we are ready with the chart of accounts instance. So here we have a segments. Within the segments we have segment values. With the values we can make the description of the transaction. So with these 3, what we can do, we can record the business transactions only in the general ledger application. Okay, other than general ledger, we discussed about there is another financial application called payables, receivables, cash management, fixed assets, and other will have a purchasing and many other applications. Other than general ledger application, what are the applications you have? All you call as sub ledger applications. Other than general ledger application, what are the other applications we have? We call as sub ledger applications. If you want to record the transactions in general ledger application, we require these calendar, currency, chart of accounts. If you want to record the transaction in the sub-ledger applications, means payables or receivables or any other application, along with these three components, let's call it as three components. Along with these three components, we need one more component called as accounting method, or else you can call it as sub-ledger accounting method. Okay, so if you want to record the transactions only in general ledger applications, these three are enough. But if you want to record the transactions other than general ledger in any other applications, which we call as sub-ledgers, APR and other applications, along with these three, we require the fourth one called as accounting method. When we are working on sub-ledger applications, APR, I'll explain you. Okay, just definitely I'll touch this point, otherwise you can rise this point. But now if you just will discuss, then you may not get it. It's a very simple concept, but we'll discuss based on when it is relevant at all. So high level to understand what will be, we know in calendar what we have, dates and periods, in currency, which currency, and chart of accounts, segments and segment values to write the description of the transaction. What we have in accounting method, in accounting method will be having accounting policies, accounting rules. When you create the invoice in accounts payables, system has to create which entry it has to create, which entry, from where it has to take which account, and all the rules will be predefined. So we'll be having accounting policies or accounting rules within the accounting method or sub-ledger accounting method. You can call it a sub-ledger accounting method. Okay, so in the accounting method we'll have accounting policies which are required, okay, to record the business transactions and to create accounting entries in sub-ledger applications. We'll understand more detailed level when you're working on sub-ledgers. Okay, finally, by grouping these four, we have to create the concept called as primary ledger. Okay, by grouping these four components, what we do, we'll create the primary ledger. Short name is PL. So if you have these four components in the primary ledger, by using the primary ledger, where you can create the transactions, to record the transactions GL, 3 C's are enough, 3 components are enough. Okay, primary ledger you can use to record the transaction in general ledger application. The same way you can use the primary ledger in sub ledger applications also, if you are going to have these four components within the primary ledger. We'll create the primary ledger with the four components so that we can use the primary ledger to record the transactions in general ledger application and to sub ledger applications. If you notice here, calendar is starting with the C, currency is starting with the C, chart of account instance also starting with the C, but accounting method is starting with the A. But what Oracle says is, even starting with A, the next second character is C. Oracle says treat this is also, just count this is also another C. Total 4 C's. Calendar is starting with C, this is C, this is C, this is A, but Oracle says consider this C. So these 4 we call as 4 C's. Okay, 4 C's. Okay, 4 C's. By using 4 C's, what we can do? We can record the business transaction. 4 C's when we required to record the transactions in sub-ledger applications. If you want to record the transaction in the general ledger, 3 C's are enough, calendar, currency and chart of account. But if you create the primary ledger with the 4 C's, it will support for general ledger process and sub-ledgers process. Okay, this is the point we have to understand here. If you have any question on this, please. We are grouping. Reason, every transaction we need these components, right? Every transaction you have to capture the date, you have to specify the amounts with the currency, and you have to write the description, and there should be some rule to generate the accounting entries in sub-ledger applications. That's the reason all will put in one place, that is we call as primary ledger. By using the primary ledger, you can record the transaction GL or any other application which we call as sub-ledger applications. Yep, I'm sorry if somebody is asking question.
Yeah, it's an out of topic question. So the consolidation, revaluation, all those things, it's all part of a general ledger, or
yes, general ledger. When you say revaluation is part of general ledger under fixed assets also, but consolidation, translation, all part of general ledger only.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. So any other questions? Now 4 C's are ready. Calendar is we created, currency we didn't create, just we didn't enable also, that is readily enabled, readily available, and chart of account we created. Out of 4 C's, how many we created? Only 2 C's. calendar and chart of accounts. Remaining 2 are readily available in the system. Now by using these 4 C's, we'll go and create the primary ledger. Okay, we'll see this activity in the next session. And here I have one question. Do you want session tomorrow also, or else directly on Monday only? And if you need session in the weekends also, I can take the session in the weekend so that we can complete bit faster if you are interested and if you want. But generally we plan from Monday to Friday. Yes, we'll go with that schedules only. If all people are okay, I don't have objection to take in the weekends also. But first tell me about tomorrow session. You need session tomorrow or not?
Yeah, we need LAXMAN.
Oh, okay, fine.
I think let's have it tomorrow, sir. Let's have it tomorrow, and during the weekend it makes a lot of sense because we can complete it quicker then.
Correct, exactly. Agree. Fine, we'll have session tomorrow, same time. If you have any other questions, please.
What about access to the system? When we are going to get it?
The people who paid, they'll be getting by tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
The people who paid, they'll be getting access by tomorrow, and we are expecting payments from everyone who is going to continue, who is going to attend from tomorrow's session. Okay. So.
And if you're planning for weekend, then is it the same time or?
Tomorrow same time.
I'm talking about the weekend.
Weekend, just this course we plan from Monday to Friday only.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's what I just now asked one question. Yeah. If all people are okay with weekends also, I don't have any objection. But I'm hearing from somebody, yes, that has to be accepted. We'll have some personal life and so the same plan. However you schedule, the same schedule will follow. Classes will be from Monday to Friday.
And LAXMAN, this is Srini. You remember we were discussing about sharing some documents or materials which can help us in understanding much. I know it's impractical to cover everything in the training sessions. So if you can share the materials.
Basically, if I'm taking R12, EBS training, I'll be covering almost everything. I mean, conceptual, I'll be explaining detail level, and system process, I'll be showing what is the meaning of setup and all. Now, when you talk about fusion, you can see off because reason these sessions are planned for some EBS known people and all. Okay, that is the reason. If you're not getting anyway, just I'm planning for weekend batches for the guys who want to understand a little bit more.
Really, there are definitely certain gaps are there in trying to relate EBS and fusion. So that's where if you can share some materials.
As I spoke to you,
we can catch up fast.
I'll be sharing with you release 12 related some documentation stuff. You can go through it and you can get some idea on EBS also. Kind of user training documents, etc. I'll be sharing. So other side anyway, we are going to have some sessions in the weekend. Okay, that just I'll give you a call after. I mean, maybe tomorrow I'll give you a call. Then we'll schedule those sessions in the Saturday and Sunday based on the attendees availability, all attendees availability. We'll do that.
Sure, that would be great actually.
We'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other queries, please? Okay, fine. No questions. Means we'll just wind up the session for today then. Okay, thank you so much. Good night.
Sure, and happy Ugadi.
Thank you so much. Wish you the same all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.